I'll have some of that. Yeah, biter. Right then, back up at the apron on the allotment. As you see me install that Anel plastic insulated beehive. I've now got another one in a different colour. So basically now I've got to decide which one of these is going to go in there, which one's most overcrowded that could start swarming, and put it in the new one there. I did put some honey supers on there. They have made a start, but the weather's not been that great, so yeah, they've done one or two frames in the super, but not that many, so I'll just leave them to it, I think. That one there was the one that weren't doing very well, and I can't remember what the crack was with these. I think they were full, but I've seen the queen in one, I do believe. Didn't see the queen in the other two, so I've just got to go in them now and see which one wants putting in the new hive. They're not very active today, it's a bit cold. So yeah, there you go. Right, so that nuke there, they've got a lot more honey stores. I didn't see the queen, but doing a bit better. The second one in, there is brood on the end frame, so I don't know. I'm thinking if I can get some eggs or something, I might put them in there, to be honest. But that one's full and it's got brood, so obviously there's a mating queen in there. Mated queen, I should say. Right then, so you've got nuke number 4 and nuke number 7 that are not doing brilliantly, and I can't see a queen. But that don't mean anything I could have missed off. But they're not doing well, number 7 and number 4. So I'm going to check the last one now. Right then, so nuke number 8 seems to be doing okay. I'm just going to check for brood, but I would have thought it's okay, to be honest. It's looking good. So basically 2 out of 4 nukes seem to be doing okay. I don't think that's doing as well as number 4, so I might change number 4, to be honest. Right then, nuke number 8, I did just spot the queen as we were putting the last frame back in, and I did see a small amount of capped brood and some larvae. So I think what we're going to do, that seems, number 4 seems to be the most advanced, so I'm going to put all them into the new hive, and if I can, I'm going to try and take some brood out there and put it in. Oh sorry, what's numbers that? Yeah, that's number 4. Number 6, I'm going to try and put some brood in there if I can. Right then, welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back, my ongoing beekeeping adventures. Right, I'll start off by saying I made a mistake what I was saying earlier. That nuke next to the blue Anel hive, that's the one that's not doing very well. The one next to it was like doing very well. It was like it got swarm cells in it, so obviously it was starting to get overcrowded. So my plan here is, as you can see, I'm inspecting every frame and looking for the queen at the same time. Not always that easy to spot the queen when it's quite overcrowded. So my plan basically is transferring him into this green Anel Beehive, plastic insulated, which, to be fair, I think they don't seem bad. I mean, they do come with a few faults. Catches are not level and bits and bobs like that, but I think they are a little bit better than the wooden hives, i.e. they won't rot and they're insulated, which has got to be a bit better than a piece of wood, hasn't it? Especially through winter of -2 degrees. So I'm starting off, and you'll see that I put the first 2 Langstaff frames to one side of that green beehive. Both of them had got swarm cells on, and they were full of brood. So I'm basically thinking to myself, because I can't see the queen in this nuke in the middle, I'm thinking to myself, with these first 2 frames that I've took out, that I'll probably put those into that middle nuke, because it's full of nurse bees, it's got brood on it, and it's got 2 swarm cells on it. So if there isn't a queen in that middle nuke, them 2 frames will give them a boost, because in that middle nuke they're only working on about 3 frames. They are doing a lot better in there than they were doing about a week and a half ago, but I can't see the queen. So, and there's no brood in that middle nuke. I can't see any brood, so that's why I end up putting 2 frames with nurse bees, a couple of swarm cells and brood into that middle nuke. You'll see me do that. I was watching that Frederick Dunn, and he was saying if a hive's struggling a bit, there's going to be no problem with putting a couple of frames with nurse bees on. In actual fact, they'll welcome it. That's what he said. And I put them in, and they did seem quite happy. It didn't seem like there was any fighting or, battles going on or anything. It seemed okay, so, yeah. So I'll end up putting 4 frames in this green beehive. All of the 4 frames had swarm cells on them, brood on them, and obviously bees. So that nuke that I'm taking the frames out of did seem to be doing quite well, although I didn't spot the queen again. Just keep inspecting them frames, but I couldn't see the queen. What I have come to the conclusion of is, if you're going to do an inspection on these nukes, or any beehive for that matter, I think it might be advisable to close the entrances up, because what I've noticed is, over the inspections I've done this year, which is quite a lot to be fair, it's like once you start going in the nuke or the hive, it's like the queen's coming out the front entrance and you're not realising it. It's like she's just coming straight out the entrance and walking around the outside of the hive, which leaves her vulnerable to being like accidentally killed or not getting back in the hive. And I will say to you guys, I've been keeping bees a year now, and I put my Wellington boots on, put my Beehive on. Beehive? Did I just say Beehive? Put my Wellington boots on, and I put my bee suit on, my gloves, and at this point, I've never been stung one single time. Amazing. Although they do say beekeepers have got less risk of catching cancer because bee stings apparently kill cancer cells. So I don't know how true that is. When you consider that cancer cells feed on glucose, which is too much sugar in the body, apparently. No, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but a lot of what they do say does make sense. I'm just trying to see what stage I've got up to be fair. So at this point, I think I've got 2 frames pushed to one side in the green hive, which I'm gonna put into that nuke there with swarm cells on and brood. And then I'm left with 4 frames, which I'll put into the green hive. I'm not joking. I was on the allotment today. I think I was there for about 3 hours. Unbelievable. I'm basically just waiting for the chairman, one of the chairmans, John, to give me an allotment. And I'll be laughing, man, to be honest. And like I've said in previous videos, if you think you're keeping bees in your back garden, just be aware that if they swarm multiple times, you're going to end up with, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 nukes in your back garden, and you're going to be just overwhelmed with bees in your back garden. So unless you can sell them rapidly, it's something to consider in your area. Get yourself an allotment, council allotment, or this is like a private allotment, and get your name down. So if you are keeping bees and you can get yourself an allotment, I mean, what more do you want where you can keep a dozen beehives on an allotment, and it's costing you pennies per year for the allotment? I mean, these allotments here, they're like £15 a year, and you got like 100-foot allotment with the, I don't know how wide it is, 15-foot wide or something like that. Basically the same width as a terraced house garden. But it's a way forward, guys. Get yourself on the list for an allotment. No one's going to complain or give you problems about keeping bees on an allotment, because they're growing all the veggies, and they want you, they'll be more than well, you will be more than welcome having bees on there, because you're going to pollinate all their veggies, aren't you? Which is what's basically happened to me. Although I haven't got an allotment, the chairman of this allotment has let me put the bees there. I'll tell you what, fell on my feet, guys, fell on my feet. And also something to bear in mind is if you do manage to get a load of swarms, it's not a cheap game, guys. The frames and the beehives, it's all money, money, money. Especially if you start ending up with half a dozen beehives. You can't keep them in them nukes, can you? Because they're just temporary. They need to go in a hive, and they will start making you honey. As you can see with that Anel blue hive to the left. Oh, excuse me. That has got 2 super boxes on there. One's not being used. But even if you've got like 6 super boxes with frames in, you can still store it on top of the beehive. You just put like a plastic crown board in between so they can't get up until they filled the super box that you want filling up first. So it's not like you got to store shitloads of bee equipment in other places, is it? Right, yeah, so all the 4 frames are in there. I didn't see the queen again. I might as well tell you now that I got all that green beehive set up, and then I found a queen on the floor, dead, which was an issue to me. I weren't too happy about that. I don't know how she ended up dead. Whether she was dead before, she was outside on the floor, or whether I accidentally killed her, I don't know. Luckily for me, I'd got them 2 frames at the end that I'm going to put into that middle nuke with 2 swarm cells on, and the 4 frames I put in there with brood and bees. There was about 4 queen cells, swarm cells on them 4 frames at least. So although I did find the queen dead on the floor at a later point in the video, there was hopefully enough queen cells to replace her. I can't believe it. It's like the queens are coming out the hive through the entrance. So when I start doing inspections again, I'm going to close the entrances up, because I've just got this feeling they keep coming through the entrances, because they definitely weren't coming over the top. So, yeah, there you go. And another thing I should point out, I think if you think you might get some swarms from your bees, wherever they might be, I probably wouldn't say buy these nuke boxes. Nuke boxes are alright for putting a set of bees in there and selling them. But when you work out them Anels are only 120 quid, 130 quid delivered, you might as well buy that, I think. Because even if you was going to sell that blue one, you could just take the supers off and just give them like the base, the brew box and the lid, and it works out roughly the same or just a little bit more. There I am, just trying to get as many bees as possible back into the hive. I mean, they're all over the lid and all in the box and everything. I've got a different insulation media on that lid compared to the others, and they were just chewing into it and making cone out of the insulation. Here I'm taking the insulation out just to see what's going on underneath it. That actually wants replacing for some of that foam insulation with silver on either side. That wants to come out, that does. But if you're thinking of keeping bees, don't think for 1 minute it's not going to cost you money until they're all set up. Although I am going along the lines of the plastic frames. I'm just coating them in beeswax myself, to be honest. The plastic frames, whether the brood box or super frames, brood frames or super frames, they're just made better than the wooden ones, I think. As long as you coat them in wax, they're alright. So yeah, here's the nuke in the middle there that's not doing very well. At the beginning of the video I told you it was. I got the wrong one. That one's not doing very well. The other one was chock-a-block. So here I'm just taking some empty, non-used Langstroth frames out to make room for a couple of yeah. So here you go. I'm putting in 2 frames now with brood on, bees on, and there was at least 1 swarm cell on each frame. Just checking for the queen again, if I remember right. But you imagine if you get an allotment, keep all your bees on there, hassle free, dead cheap every year, and grow your organic vegetables. It's the way forward, lads. Well, I should say, boys and girls, it's the way forward. Still looking for the queen on them 2 frames I'm going to put in there, can't see her. So I don't know what happened to her. Whether she was outside the hive or not, I don't know. But I'm so careful when I take the frames out, and my eyes all over them looking for the queen. So she must be coming out through the entrance at the front when she gets disturbed. It's the only thing I can boil it down to. That's 1 frame in, I do believe. 2nd frame. Excuse me. What I've noticed, the reason I'm holding the frame like that, I've noticed before when I spin it over and stuff like that, you get the larvae dropping out of the cells. So I was trying to avoid that. I had it last time I did an inspection. Some of the larvae dropped out. I mean, you see the professional beekeepers spin it over and all that. Maybe they're just not bothered. But I am. So I'm just trying to avoid larvae dropping out cells. But that middle nuke did seem like it needed some help, a bit of a boost. That's why I'm taking 2 frames out of that one. Yeah, I was just scrutinising the frame, trying to see if I can see the queen, because I don't want to put the queen in there, you see. Because them 2 frames have got 2 cells on, so I don't want to be accidentally putting a frame in with a mated queen in. Unbeknown to me, she's dead on the floor. And don't be worried about killing the odd bee. I mean, I did kill a couple of bees, but not intentionally, but it's just unavoidable. They're just like crawl out the woodwork, these things, and get in the way, and you don't realise till you close the lid that you've just squashed one. It's quite boring, really. Sliding the lid there, sliding it on to prevent any unnecessary casualties. So there's that middle nuke. It's got 4 frames that are doing reasonably well, not brilliant. Couldn't see the queen, and put 2 frames in there with 2 queen cells on. So hopefully that'll give them a boost. And like I say, they didn't seem too bothered that were putting frames with bees on from another hive, which was brilliant. So they were full of brood, them 2 frames. Full of brood, cat brood, so that should give them a bit of a boost. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, there was some like bird cone, as they call it, on top of the frames, because there was a gap between the lid and the lid and the actual nuke. There's a gap, so I've just took that off. I did eventually put that bird cone in front of the hive so they could extract any honey out of it and stuff. Just leave some bird cone, which is just wax. So in that green hive, I've got 4 frames, which have got at least 4 swarm cells on. Cat brood, merging brood, full of bees. So I'm hoping, now I know that the queen was, well, one of the queens was dead on the floor. Don't know which one it was, but one of the queens was dead on the floor. I'm hoping them swarm cells are gonna replace her. Just putting some empty Langstroth frames there, wax foundation frames, new frames in there. So what was that? I think it was 4 frames. Yeah, so I put six new ones in, make it a 10 frame beehive, obviously. I never imagined I'd have this lot here. Well, I wasn't intending this, and this is spending the money on all these nukes and beehives is not what I planned on doing this year at all. It just shows you, doesn't it? Yeah, just putting the frames in. Mind you, when they're all banging out honey, either later this year or next year, I'm going to have shitloads of honey. I've got to buy myself one of them honey extractors yet. Not too impressed with the flow hive thing, especially that Chinese flow hive, to be honest. And I'm not going to buy an original flow hive for 800 or 1,000 quid. It's just not worth it, I don't think. Might as well get these hives and get an extractor and just do it the traditional way. Instead of spending 800 to 1,000 quid on one hive. Ooh, must be joking. Just so you can extract the honey easier. Nah, it's not worth it, I don't think. Definitely easier. And if Flow Hive sent me one, I'd use it. But I'm not going out my way to pay 800 to £1,000 for a Flow Hive original. Nah. And I won't be using the Chinese Flow Hive again. I'm going to slowly wean off me bees in the shed. I'm going to wean them off that. That's coming out my shed as well. I'm going to use one of these Anel ones in my shed. Putting the queen excluder on there, although at this point I didn't know whether there was a queen in there or not. Now what I'm doing now is putting the super on with 10 black plastic super frames, which I coated up in beeswax. That's an earlier video. You should be able to see that if you go look on the channel. So the queen excluder's on, the super's going on now. Theoretically I shouldn't need to inspect this hive. I might do though, just to see if there's a queen in a couple of weeks. So I should be putting the clear plastic crown board on now, so I can see what's going on without disturbing them. And there it is. They're quite good then. Sheets of plastic that go on there, to be honest. Quite impressed with them. And I'm putting another box of supers on with wooden frames. Obviously they've not got access to them at the moment, but when I need to use them I can do. And that's the beauty of these eyes, because if you put that clear plastic crown board on, you can stop them getting at any super boxes that are above it, which means you're not going to store the super boxes anyway. You can just keep them on the hive. Right then, I'm all done. So basically took some brood nurse bees, 2 frames off, and they had a couple of queen cells on them. Put them into that newt there that was suffering a bit. Left 3 or 4 frames in there. I think it was 4 frames in that green one. And when I put it all back together, I found the queen dead on the floor. So that weren't very good, was it? Always finding the queen at the end, either alive or dead. Annoying. It's a good job there are half a dozen queen cells on them remaining 4 frames, isn't it? Bloody hell. Gotta be ever so careful with the queens, I tell you. Especially when they're not marked and you can't see them. Unbelievable. Yeah, so it's a good job. I mean, I don't know if there's a queen in that one or not. I couldn't see her, and there ain't many bees in it, so they've got some queen cells now. Stores, brood, all that. Seemed alright, it didn't seem to reject them. Like I say, found the queen on the floor down there, dead, so I don't know whether that was me or what. But yeah, good job there's half a dozen cells in there, emergency cells. Because they're getting overcrowded, so they're going to swarm anyway. So, whew, good job, isn't it? But yeah, there they are. That's me done for today.